When parents see that their teen's not going to do what they're asking them to do, they'll often resort to the bribe. I don't recommend offering the bribe. The bribe is not a way to motivate somebody for the middle and long term. Hey everyone, Dr. Mark Schillinger, founder of Young Men's Ultimate Weekend and Challenging Teenage Sons. And we're going to continue our lessons here as we've been talking about consequences. So we're going to focus on two parts today that have something to do with consequences. Number one is fair versus not fair. I'm sure you hear that from your teen all the time. It's not fair. And the second part we'll talk about is extrinsic versus intrinsic rewards. So in my mentoring of parents, I hear all the time, my son, my teen daughter, he doesn't want to do these things, and they're not doing what I ask. Well, one of the things I encourage them to do, if you've watched my other videos, you know that we use a virtue, value, and behavior model. So we would say something like, well, I'm simply asking to be responsible. That means doing things you like to do and don't like to do until completion and without reminders. So I'm just asking you to take out the garbage and bring it back Thursday morning. Or if you take it out Wednesday night, bring it back the next day. So you're asking them to do something, they say no, that it's not fair. So I recommend saying, well, I'm demonstrating certain virtues to you, like love and care and generosity. I get you so many things that you want, whether you need them or not. And so now I'm asking for some back. You're a teenager. It's time for you to contribute to the well-being of the house. So I'm asking to be more responsible. And of course, they're going to say no. And I recommend that you don't take the bait, because I call them the house lawyer. They're going to tell you all the reasons why they should not do something. So let me see if I can share a slide here. Give me a moment. There we go. I think you can see that. Make sure I got that right. I think I did. So don't take the bait, because they're the house lawyers. They're going to try to talk you out of anything and everything you know they need to learn. When I'm mentoring young men, I always let them know that most of life will be unfair or neutral. It's going to be fair on occasion, and you should just look up to heaven and go, thank you, when something is fair. Much of the time, it's not going to be fair. And you may even have to suffer consequences for something you didn't do. So it's really not fair. And that's going to happen. And there'll be times when you do the right thing, and you might get a reward, or you might even do the right thing, and there still may be a consequence. We have to learn to relax to these realities and deal with realities on its terms. So don't take the bait. So when parents see that their teen's not going to do what they're asking them to do, they'll often resort to the bribe. I don't recommend offering the bribe. The bribe is not a way to motivate somebody for the middle and long term. You might, like a dog, train them to do some stuff in the moment because you're going to give them what they want, but it's not going to help them when it's time for them to get out of the house. So I'm going to read to you from a really cool book that I think you should all look at. It's called Punished by Rewards by one of my favorite authors about parenting, Alfie Kohn. And I'm just going to read something very simple, but it makes the point, which is that rewards, by virtue of being rewards, are not attempts to influence or persuade or to solve problems, but simply to control. So you're not really educating your teen when you offer a bribe or a reward. So an extrinsic reward, like I'll buy you a new Tesla. If you just take out the garbage, that's an extrinsic reward. It's not going to work. I mean, it'll work for them. It's not going to work for you. Definitely not going to work when it's time for them to get out there in the world. An intrinsic reward is where you're motivating people to see that they will build up their self-confidence. They're going to build up their self-respect, their self-worth. When they see that they can do things that they either don't want to do or don't know how to do, you teach them how to do it, and then they feel better about themselves. This is the way to reward people. So it's extrinsic versus intrinsic, and you always want to motivate intrinsically. So be careful about dangling the carrot. I'm going to give you an example story. So this has happened about 6 months ago. Family came into my office. Parents sat over here. The young man usually sits next to them. He was sitting over there. And so I asked the parents, like, what's wrong? Why is your son sitting over there and not over here? And said, well, he came home Saturday night. He missed his curfew, and he came home late, and he smelled from weed. I said, okay. So what happened? Well, we punished him. We immediately took away whatever they took away. I think it was his right to drive their car for a couple of weeks or months or whatever. I said, okay. So I said to the young man sitting over there in the corner, I'm like, dude, what happened is, well, my friend was late. No, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. He said my friend's mom was late coming to pick him up at 12 midnight at the schoolyard where they were hanging out. And so I waited the 20 minutes until she showed up. And then they drove off, and then I walked home. So I said, okay, let me get this straight. You were late, but you didn't call or text your parents letting them know that you were late, right? So he kind of looks down and goes, yeah, but. I go, but I get it, dude. I said, you were being loyal. And he loved that. And because he probably was being loyal and telling the truth. Regardless, I found him right. He was being loyal. And his whole body language changed. So I said, good job, dude. That's a beautiful thing. That's a great virtue to have. People will respect you and open up to you when you're loyal because they can trust you. And, you were irresponsible. So there was a consequence or punishment. Now, I don't believe in punishments. I like consequences. But their parents had already given him the punishment. So they're both true. You can be loyal and you were irresponsible. And then he started to argue, like the house lawyer, well, shouldn't they cancel each other out? Like, I did a good thing and I know I did a bad thing, but maybe they can cancel each other out. So I caught the parents like thinking about that. I said, we're not negotiating, bro. We're not negotiating. Our job is to mentor you and help you learn how to make it in the outside world. You're 16, 2 years, you're out of the house. We got to get you ready. So yes, there's a consequence. And what will you learn from that? And he kind of put his head down. Then he was like, well, I need to keep my word. I said, dude, that would be awesome. Keeping your word. When you keep your word with other people, people will respect you. They'll trust you. They'll open up to you. And you're loyal. That's fantastic. So start keeping your word, stay loyal, and be responsible. This way there's no consequences, no punishments. So what I want to tell you parents as I wind down here is this. When you're speaking to your teen about a consequence or something that's not fair, do not negotiate. Just keep stating what you know is true for you about the lesson your teen needs to learn. You can do it compassionately, you can do it calmly, you can do it clearly, you can do it concisely, and you can do it with the certainty that what you're saying is true for you and good for your son to learn. Don't negotiate, don't take the bait.